Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes from April 18th.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Got a motion on the regular council minutes for the 18th.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Very good. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you. Before we get into the business tonight, we know that this community suffered a tragic event yesterday around 3:15, and I think it would be only appropriate if we just would take a moment and in our own way offer up our thoughts relative to Ms. Timmons as well as her family and the tragedy of her loss. And if we could do that now, I'd appreciate it.
Very good.
Thank you. For many years, we have had the privilege of having the Montgomery Academy girls tennis team come and receive accolades for their state championship. And Michael has written in the script here, longer days and warmer temperatures are sign that spring has arrived. But often there's another sure sign, a state championship in tennis for the Montgomery Academy, and this year is no exception. The Lady Eagles completed their season with a record of 8-1. 5 of their contests were shutouts in which they didn't lose a single match. In Mobile, in the 1A to 3A state championship tournament, they easily bested teams from other schools with a 20-point victory over their nearest rival. This is the Montgomery Academy's girls' 16th state title in 21 seasons and the 9th championship in the last 10 years. In the world of sports, you have to look to the NBA Boston Celtics, who won 10 titles in 11 years, to find a similar example of sports dominance. And this year, it's led by a new person. I guess Coach Tatum, did he move up or something along the way? But this year's team is led by first-year coach Tracy Smith. So Tracy, if you would come and help us give these certificates, we've got one for you. This is on behalf of the citizens of Montgomery. Congratulations on your 2017, and we offer you the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank
so
you.
Congratulations. You might like to say a word or two of how you've coached them in your first year to this great success.
I attribute this great success to the girls and my 3 strong seniors that have proven leadership and responsibility throughout the entire season. So it's all in these beautiful girls.
Talented.
Amazing girls.
Well, good. Well, if you'll join me over here, we will call their name.
Freshman Martha Morgan Powell. And we want to invite the friends and parents to come up here at the front for the photo op. Freshman Coleman Spear. A sophomore, state champion number 3 doubles, Lucy Chapman. Lucy Chapman. Sophomore Shelby Slauson. A freshman and state champion in number 5 singles and number 3 doubles, Martha Ernest. Senior Sellers McConnell. Sophomore and state champion in number 3 singles, Caroline Deal. Accepting for Miss Deal is senior state champion at number 2 singles, Kate Dockery. TCU. And that's it, your 1A, 3A Alabama championships in tennis.
While the young ladies are going to their seats and before they leave, I will tell them that I have some tennis prowess of myself, because when I came to Montgomery in 1977, my wife and we came in 3rd place in the singles constellation, which meant we didn't ever win a match. So thank y'all for coming. In keeping with the tradition of having some of our organizations present good things about what's happening in their organization, and also the volume of what's happening in their organization, I'd invite Scott Miller, who runs Leisure Services. Where's Scott? Scott promised me that he would make this very brief. He'd like to do it in 5 minutes, but he won't. 25 minutes. Everybody give Scott a really good welcome.
Mayor asked me to do this in less than 45 minutes, or was that 45 minutes, Mayor?
I think 45 seconds.
Oh, okay. We keep a lot going on at Leisure Services, and basically, what is Leisure Services? We're made up of the Parks and Recreation Department, Special Events Department, the Zoo, and the Central Alabama Sports Commission. But what is Leisure Services? Easiest definition is it's everything fun. That's what we do. And we're going to take a look at activities and events that we put on that bring in out-of-town people to Montgomery. Every event we're going to list is going to have out-of-town people involved. And I'm going to tell you right now, when we get to the end of it, the screen's going to say 222 plus events. It's actually 223 plus events after yesterday we just signed another contract with the Gulf South Conference for their soccer championship. But through this, we do a lot of bringing money into Montgomery. We're going to show you some lodging taxes, which we're not solely responsible for. We're just significant. We're a significant part of it. To be honest with you, we hadn't done a good enough job on our end of documenting the out-of-town visitors in Montgomery except for the participants. We do know the participants, but we have changed our protocol and how we're going to report this so we can get a good economic impact for next year. But as we move forward, these are events that we've had this past January and February. And Blue Grape,
2017 to 2016.
this is 2017. The economic numbers we'll look at the end will be 2016 numbers. But Blue Gray National Tennis Tournament, Super Sectional Wrestling Tournament, Alabama Independent School Association, 2 basketball tournaments, Home Builders Expo, and Mike, it's not changing. Capital City Juniors Volleyball. March was a very big month for us. Blue Gray Junior Tennis. We had the ASU SWAC Roundup Tennis Tournament. We had 5 soccer tournaments, and we had several travel ball, baseball, and softball tournaments, a half marathon, and we had a cheer event at the multiplex. April really starts heating up. We had the Independent School Association State Tennis. Icy Hot Tennis Tournament is actually a USTA event, a national event, where we had players in from Kentucky out to Texas, 360 of them. We had 7A state tennis championships. We had 8 travel ball tournaments. And just this past Wednesday, we had Auburn and ASU play softball over at Lagoon Park. More April events that we had this year, including the triathlon that we just had this past weekend, 2 AAU basketball tournaments, YBOA tournament, big archery tournament, and state soccer tournament for the Independent School Association. Now, when you see our May schedule, it looks like we'll slow down a little bit, but it's actually our busiest month of the year because these tournaments actually start during the week, and we have to use our personnel starting at 8 o'clock in the morning putting these tournaments on. Southern States Athletic Conference tournament starts tomorrow. The Alabama Independent School Association softball state tournament starts Friday, and then we go into the High School Athletic Association state baseball tournament, which will be Monday week. The state softball tournament, and then we have a couple of travel ball tournaments. Well, River Bend Brew Fest, River Jam, 2 of our events with the River Special Events Department. The Capitol Cool Basketball Tournament is a big AAU basketball tournament that will have about 70 teams. And we also have the final round of the Alabama U.S. Kids Championship Golf at Lagoon Park in May. And there's been 6 rounds of that. This will be the 6th round played in Montgomery. The first and the last was at Lagoon Park. And the winners will go to Pinehurst Country Club, North Carolina, to compete in the National. June through August, now I've got one event from last year on here just because it was a huge event. I know y'all heard a lot about it. The World Horseshoe Tournament was very big. But we have All-Star Week, and then there's 2 huge tennis tournaments, Alabama Junior State Qualifying and the Junior State Closed. Both of those are 360 in each. We have a new one this year, a 7-on-7 flag football tournament, which will be 48 state, well, Southeast is actually some from Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia. It'll be 48 high school football teams here to compete in that, and that will be at the soccer complex. Of course, in August, you got the Dragon Boat Racing Festival, and this year, several more travel ball tournaments. The Thunderbolt Expo, we had that tournament for the first time last year. It was 142 teams, over 100 college coaches here, and we've got that again this year, and we'll be having to convert 4 baseball fields to softball fields. We'll be using all 6 at Lagoon, 4 at Fane, and 4 more that we're going to convert just for that tournament. Champions Challenge comes in August, and that's 6 very elite high school football teams from around the state brought in to play at Crampton Bowl. And now, a brand new event coming up, the Guardian Kickoff Classic at Crampton Bowl on Saturday, August 26th at 5 p.m., University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Jacksonville State University. That game will be on ESPN. It'll be the first college football game of the season. And, you know, that's kind of a spin-off from what we've done with some other stuff, such as the Camellia Bowl. But as we move into September and December, those are two national tennis tournaments up there, the USTAs, the junior doubles, and the national selection. That's the top seeded national rankings coming in for that, and that's very big. Blue-gray gymnastics, the Southern States Athletic Conference soccer tournament. We actually have an ultimate frisbee tournament that we bring teams from Georgia and Tennessee in out at the soccer complex. What we call the Mayor's Cup volleyball, Southern States Athletic Conference volleyball tournament, Junior League holiday market, the Super Regional for the High School Athletic Association, and we have just added the Gulf South Conference soccer tournament as of yesterday. And then, of course, this is the Camellia in our portfolio. The Raycom Media Camellia Bowl this year will be on Saturday, December 16th. Probably be announcing the time of the game in the next few days. Everybody has to be notified that has bowl games, but that's been a big benefit for Montgomery. Now, when you go back to calendar year, not physical year, this is January 1 of 16 through December 31 of 16. This year, we're going to have 223 events, plus some other events, and those other events are spin-offs from what we do with everything else. With the High School Athletic Association, we have 10 mini clinics that they do here in Montgomery on 10 different sports. We have their Hall of Fame banquet. We have their Principal and Athletic Directors Conference. We have their Middle School Conference. We have the Alabama Football Coaches Association Conference. We have all the conference meetings of the Southern States Athletic Conference. And we have all the state meetings of the Independent School Association here. But in 2016, the total occupancy rate for Montgomery is 64%, a little over 9.5 million in lodging tax. Next year we'll come before you and we'll have the information to an economic impact, and I'm telling you that number is going to grow quite a bit there. And because that's just lodging tax. When you throw sales, gasoline, and everything attributed to these visitors, you're going to get into a mighty big figure. But we didn't want to give you something that we could not back up, and so we didn't. But we will next year. The Montgomery Zoo, almost 300,000 visitors this past year. We just broke ground on the Stingray exhibit about a month ago. Those funds came from the Zoological Society that raised money through zoo weekends and jubilations. And with that, they were named a top 10 tourist attraction for the state of Alabama by the Department of Tourism. In addition to that, the Department of Leisure Services was named the 2016 Alabama Recreation Park Association Agency of the Year. With that, I'll conclude this. Pretty efficient. Good job. Thank you.
I just told him, I didn't know that he was the Parks and Rec Association of the Year last year. He said, I didn't ask. Well, are you going to get it this year?
We're working on it.
Hey,
$1.4 million.
you got one of your staff members. I see one of your staff members back there.
I got
Kay McCrary.
Kay McCreary back here, a very valuable staff. Margaret Eason back there, part of our staff. Of course, don't always claim Mike Mann, depends on whether it flips right or not.
Right.
Rob Five, there's Rob Five, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Very good job.
Couple of further things. Last year, that 64 occupancy is for all of the 77 hotels that are in 7,700 hotel rooms in Montgomery. Where he focuses is both downtown and also at the East Chase area. Both of those were in the 72, 73% range. But the other significant number is we had 50,000 more room nights last year in 16 than we had the year before. And already through the first 3 months, we haven't received, have we received April? No, haven't received April. Just for the first 3 months, we're up 7,000 rooms over 2017. So things continue to go in really a good range. He is not announcing the Camellia Bowl time because that's something that ESPN will announce, but we will tell you that we're probably the only football game on that particular Saturday. So we'll be in at least college. There may be a pro game. So
And it'll be prime time.
that's gonna we've graduated from a 9 o'clock kick to a 4:30 kick to something that's going to be more prime time. So Scott does a great job.
Very good, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council.
Mighty sharp. Like that jacket. That's good. Okay. Council, any special committee reports? Okay, our first item on the agenda.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning 2 parcels of land containing 58.8 acres located at the west end of Ellsbury Drive and the south side of Ellsmead Drive from an institutional district to a B1, BQ district with restrictions.
Tommy?
Mr. President, the Planning Commission recommended the rezoning of this property to B1, BQ, restricted to residential use and outdoor recreation and entertainment.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, our public hearing.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I'm the councilman for District 6, and this is going to be located in District 6. And although we don't have anybody who is here present, there is a letter, and I would just like to, it's by Mrs. Annetta Songer, H-O-S-O-N-G-R. She states that she's disabled, and she has some concerns, and she's afraid of the, quote, the criminal element. And she, because she could not be here personally, I just would like that be a part of the record.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Okay, the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council.
Somebody got to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am, want to come forward? In front.
Good afternoon.
I live in Ellsmead.
Speak to the mic, can we hear you?
Good afternoon.
There you go. Your name?
Wendy Sanders.
Okay, Ms. Sanders.
I live in the Ellsmead area, and it's a bunch of traffic already. I live in the back of where the old golf course used to be. Right now, it's full of just trees in my back, in the back of my yard, in the back where the fence area at. And it's like one way in and one way out. We're already having problems right now with them opening that gate up in the Palisade apartments. And we're having a lot of break-ins now due to that opening right now.
Okay, all right.
So it's one way in, it's one way out. We don't have the room for it.
Okay.
It's too much traffic right now with us living there now.
Very good. We'll face that, all right?
Mr.
Bell?
Mr. President, could we have, ma'am, could we have Mr. Brian Kelly, with your permission?
Yeah.
Would you come and tell what the plans are and what is this? She's concerned about the traffic. Kind of, if it's okay, Mr.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. In light of our opening
Brian,
prayer.
your name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's Brian Kelly. I'm the Executive Director of Common Ground Montgomery. We have the interest in developing the property. And first, in reference to the first letter, I mean, right now there's homeless people living on the property. I think there's criminal element going on because nothing's going on there, not because something that would be developmental is coming to the property. Second, in terms of traffic, what we're planning to do, which I'll describe in a minute, you're talking about at the most 30 to 40 people at a time that would be there. We're talking about 6 to 8 cars. within a 2-hour block of what we have planned at a time. So we're not talking about a whole lot of traffic coming down the one way in and out. I agree with you. That's a challenge in itself. But in light of the opening prayer, our mission in the Washington Park neighborhood from day one has been to be a safe haven for kids when they're at most risk of the destructive influences of our streets. And so this continuation of our mission is try to figure out how to take what we've been doing on the west side over on the south side now and extend opportunities to kids in the neighborhood, extend opportunities to people that don't have a lot to do during the after school hours and the summer hours. And so our desire is to actually improve the neighborhood to help take some of the things going on up and down the streets off during those times in terms of youth development and trying to create a space and an opportunity for kids to be developed. This outdoor opportunity of 60 acres is a way to bring kids off the streets and provide them opportunity to learn things like gardening and after school programming with tutoring and mentoring and things like that. That's our desire. That's what we've been doing for 11 years now on the west side of the city. But also what we'd like to create is an outdoor adventure park kind of opportunity for the city of Montgomery. Again, with just very planned, specific groups coming out as they elect to do so. So it's not just people all day long everywhere coming in. That's not our desire. Our desire is groups of 20 to 30 people at a time in 2-hour increments coming out to the land. And we'd love to, if we can figure out how to pay for it, we'd love to do zip lines, we'd love to do laser tag, we'd love to do trails and gardening and things where people could come out and really enjoy the land. And so I think it's more dangerous to leave it unattended, to leave it with the criminal activity that is going on in the land right now. We'd like to be a part of seeing that stopped and love to be a help to the neighborhood, not a hindrance. And so that's where we are right now.
We'll talk about you plan to do a tutorial. Counseling, or just tell us how you're going to help the community. I know you're going to show the children some fun, but you're more than having fun. Tell us a little bit more about.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of people don't understand.
Yes, sir. So our organization focuses on youth development. We create programs where kids can come after school. In this neighborhood, it would be a walk-up program. So we're focusing on the kids within walk-up distance of the land. And we would create a set program where parents sign their kids up. They come and do after-school tutoring, so they do their homework. They come and do different events on the land that would be fun and developmental for the kids. And we try to bring the right kind of adults into the lives of the kids to do mentoring. And so my desire is to canvass the neighborhood and find the people in the neighborhood that desire to invest in the kids of the community. That's our next step, is try to figure out. I've already been approached by 4 or 5 people already coming up to the land and wanting to do it. So we want to do community development. We don't want to come from the outside in and try to fix something. We want to see the neighborhood grow and be strengthened by investing in the children of the neighborhood. That's the social cause. And the other part's just a business endeavor to figure out how to pay for it. How do we staff it? How do we take care of the land? How do we develop the building? We want to renovate the property. How do we do that? Well, this is how we're trying to figure out how to pay for it. So that's the business part of it.
And one more thing, and I don't want to take up time, but I'm trying to persuade some people. Now, Tommy, I'm sorry by calling you Tommy. That's okay. You can call me Fred too. Okay. Tell them, explain to the people that it's already zoned. How's it already zoned? What is it zoned for?
It's zoned institutional. It's been a golf course, so there's been a recreational activity out there. Clubhouses, I don't familiar with the clubhouse, but there's a clubhouse on the property.
Now, Tommy, we're not used to all them big words that are institutional. Tell us what could come out there. We don't change this. If we don't rezone. Tell them.
Well, you could have a school. You could have a hospital. You could have retirement facilities, nursing home. A lot of
rehab.
Yes.
And so what I'm trying to say is that we're trying to ensure that not we, he's trying to ensure, I think, that something positive is coming. I mean, I live on Willie Park Drive, and I live in District 6, and it's a nice place to live, but we don't have a whole lot out there for children. We really don't. And so I do understand your concern, but I'll tell you this right here. If it turns out to be detrimental, I'll be the first one to resign and then sue them. Okay? I'll be the first one to be on your side. But I think it's a good, positive thing.
I'm glad because of the kids. It's just that it's the traffic, the going in and out. That's my concern.
But I don't think that is going to be because of that. I think you have that anyway.
Yes, true, because the apartment is in the next, is over there So the traffic is still going, no matter what. Even though he come out there, the traffic is still going. That's my concern.
We gonna be your eyes out there to watch for it.
I would love for the kids to have something to do. Don't do wrong, because I have kids myself. It's just the traffic. That's my concern. And then, like I said, from apartments, we got break-ins starting over there. And I live right in the back of the old golf course. That's my house sits back there.
I understand.
And that's my concern.
I do.
Because they already tried to break my house about 3 or 4 times if I wasn't being there. They were broken mines. I would love you to be out there, but it's just that traffic out there. It's bad. It's one way in and one way out.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And my last thing I would say about that, there's 85 parking spots. It was obviously built for that very reason, to have people there. We're not going to be doing near the amount of traffic that the golf course did. So, I don't think we're trying to overload the street or the area. We're going to be sensitive to that. We really would.
I'd rather that than the golf course, to be frank.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
The apartment complex, doesn't it have access already to the Southern Boulevard?
Yes, sir.
And it has multiple entrances to the Southern Boulevard.
It does.
Maybe we look at traffic, maybe closing that gate off except for emergency traffic.
That's what we need.
They closed it one time, but school started. So the bus is coming back through there to pick our kids up.
Let's get over close to the mic, please, ma'am.
It has been closed, the apartment has been closed for a while. This year, they start opening the gates up for the bus can come back through there to pick our kids up.
Okay.
And that's where the traffic and stuff has started.
So it's about the school kids and...
They come back, the bus come back through that way to pick our kids up.
Whose gate is it? Whose gate is it?
It's the apartment complex gate.
Is that just more for convenience for the bus?
I think so, yeah.
It's convenient for
That's
the
just
buses.
convenience.
Yeah.
They might could look at
Well-
redrawing that.
Because they used to come in from the Woodley Road straight down, but they opened that gate up for the kids this year for them to have access. And that's where the traffic and the crime is coming from, open that gate up.
I close it, yeah.
Well, I think one thing, I don't think anybody's talked about what Common Ground does. And this man gives a lot to this city in the area he's in. He does a wonderful job helping the neighborhood, and he didn't have to be there. Don't you live over there too?
Yes, sir.
Thought you did, in Washington Park? So you've moved in the neighborhood to improve the neighborhood, and hats off to all the things I've heard you did. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm glad because I have kids. I don't mind, but it's just that I'm just nervous and there's too much going on now.
At the end of the day, I think him being there is going to help 90% of your concerns anyway about crime, but getting the right person, activity in there. I think he's going to do nothing but help or try to solve some of the issues that you're voicing right now. So I think he's going to be a much added benefit to that.
And then again, I'd be glad because...
And you all need to start that neighborhood association back up also.
Oh, I am. Please look for me. I will start it back up because it's getting ridiculous. I will be talking to y'all about it. I am.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I see you. Okay.
I declare the public hearing's been held. Talk before the council.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
You gonna speak on it too? Yes, sir.
Members of the council, thank you for letting me address you. My name is Jess Heary.
Okay.
I have lived in that neighborhood on Ellsmead for over 25 years. I remember when it was a golf course. My wife and I used to walk on the golf course later on in the evenings when the golfers left. Now it's more like a wildlife refuge. We see deer, we see wild turkey, fox, you name it, we see it back there, raccoons. That being said, it's really not serving any useful purpose. But what our neighborhood desperately needs right now is a place for the children in that neighborhood to go and play in a safe and positive environment. At any given day, gentlemen, you walk through my neighborhood and you will see at least 5 or 6 basketball goals out on the street because that's the only place they can play. Sometimes they don't even bother to look at traffic. And when they do, most of the time they just stand there and look at you. When I first heard about this, the first thing I asked, you think maybe you could put a couple of basketball goals out there so these boys can have some place to go and not be in the street. And he said, oh yeah, definitely. And then he started telling me about all this stuff. If we can do this, we will be doing the kids in that neighborhood a great service. They need a safe place to go. And it will not cost the city of Montgomery one penny. But we need to do everything we can to help the kids, you know, of our neighborhood right now. I recently retired 1 month and 1 day ago from the Alabama Department of Youth Services. I am more than willing to work with this man. I have experience working with kids. I know that you got to have a tough hide. You got to ignore some of the things they say to you. They're not going to be the most respectful kids in the world, but that's just the way it is. If I lasted at DYS long enough to retire, I know how to deal with kids. And also, to the best of my knowledge, I still have my security clearance to work with them. I probably should not have to go to that FBI check. But if need be, so what? One thing that did come up that's very important, gentlemen, is that gate, okay? I would greatly appreciate, and so would everybody else in the neighborhood, if you could do whatever you can to have that gate permanently locked.
Okay.
If we ever had a problem with the police department that had to come back there, right now, if that gate is permanently locked, there's only one way in and one way out. If they really want somebody bad enough, put a roadblock on Ellsmead, and they ain't going nowhere, okay? But so long as that gate is open, we just opened up, you know, another gateway for criminal activity. And right now, because of that only one way in and one way out into Ellsmead, I think that's why we have, you know, a low amount of crime back there. But if nothing else, think about these kids. The majority of these boys that live back there, they are not DYS material. And if we give them something to do, a positive environment, they will not. Let's do everything that we can, because once they go into the system, a good kid goes into the system, he comes out a future criminal, trust me.
Thank you for your input. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Anybody wants to talk now? Yes, KT.
KT Brown, the only thing I need to ask is, are you going to help him get the pool if the pool is provided? So we are losing our children as it is. We need to find places where our children can go and get them off the street. We are having a horrible time now because on the west side, we don't have any places for our children to go. The Kid Franklin Boys and Girls Club, as you know, is closed down. Other areas that we need for our children to go in instead of on the streets would be something of this sort. And I have to thank him because he came down there in Washington Park and he came over and he cleaned that area off and he fixed it up and he started our children to come there and they had somewhere to go. So therefore, we had some kind of protection for our children. Our children are in danger. Now, provide the pool.
We got two city council persons here sitting right next to each other. To the extent we got a little money, I think we can do a little something, I hope.
All right.
What about Mr. Green?
Sure would appreciate
KT,
it.
I wish you would, you brought up something I wish you would really work in the community to do. That boys club that's closed up over there.
Uh-huh.
That needs to be opened back up.
Well, you know,
that would solve a lot of problems in that neighborhood, but I don't hear anybody.
I know.
Okay? It needs to be opened.
I had a tutorial program there. I had 200 students to come.
You're right.
So therefore, if you give them a place to go, they will come. But we've got to help them. Now give them the swimming pool.
All right, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Cleveland, and the young lady that was speaking about the Palisade, I live in front of there in Serenity townhouses. I have already started organizing a neighborhood watch. So if there's any way possible that we could link something together that would provide a little bit more activities for our children, because just like I said, it is very important that we focus on the children right now because they have nothing to do and they are very positive. They just need mentors and need us to back them up. I am planning on getting involved in the National Night Out, and I'm asking for, we are going to need some assistance. I do have paperwork from Serenity giving me the authority to open up the watch, and just like that young lady say, the Palisade is one way in and one way out, and that's dangerous, you know, but I will try to do as much as I possibly can with the assistance of others to let us know that we are trying to make this better, and we're trying to get away from the crime, and this is the beginning.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Mr. Bell?
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
You don't need to sell business.
Old business? Making a motion, I move that we adopt.
Have motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Okay, now item number 2.
Item number 2, hearing on proposed ordinance rezoning one parcel of land located at 1951, 1961, and 1973 Bell Street from a B3 district to a B1B district.
Okay. Tommy?
Mr. President, the Planning Commission recommended the rezoning of this property so that it will allow a residential unit to be added to it.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare public hearing been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 3, hearing on proposed ordinance amending section 13-111 and section 13-112 and adopting the International Fire Code 2015 edition.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held. It's properly before the council. Item number 4.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 5, ordinance amending chapter 13, section 13-8, fireworks.
Need a motion on this one? Old business? Need a motion?
I'd like to just make one change in this, section 13-8 fireworks.
You need to make a motion to adopt first.
Have motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
Okay. And your amendment is?
The amendment is under the section 13-8 fireworks, paragraph A, down where it reads possesses, strike that one word.
Okay. A motion I have a motion to amend. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Voting on the main motion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted as amended. Item 6, ordinance amending section 14-143, permit and reporting requirements for storage of hazardous materials.
Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 7, ordinance amending section 6-4 of the Code of Ordinances, overcrowding of retail business establishments.
Need a motion.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Seven.
All opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
I'm abstaining for personal reasons.
We have one abstention. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, number 8.
Item 8, pursuant to section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 227 Marshall Street.
Good afternoon, Councilman. How y'all
Mr.
doing?
Borkin, you want to give us your name, please?
Oscar Borkin. I'm the owner of 227 Marshall Street.
Okay.
First off,
Mr. Borkin, do you own this property?
yes, I do.
Do you have ownership of it now?
Yes, I do have ownership. And first off, may I make this statement, sir? Yeah. I'm disappointed because of the fact I've called earlier to speak to someone who's in charge of showing pictures of what improvements that we have made to this property, and what we have done to come into compliances with the actions of this being an unsafe structure. I spoke to Mr. Mike means somebody, and I was put on hold and never were given the opportunity to submit my pictures to show what have we done. Maybe it was a mistake.
We don't, that's okay about that, all right? Would you please, Mr. Carr needs to know if you own the property. Is that correct, Mr. Carr?
That's correct. We don't have any proof of ownership in the probate office. The last deed that we have recorded on this property was in 2003 to Mr. Reynolds. We don't find any ownership changes since 2003.
Mr. President, I'm thinking we're here today because of an unsafe structure, not for me to prove ownership of some property. If I was made aware of that, I would be bringing that here. But today...
Well, if you'll bring that to Mr. Carr about the ownership, then we'll go forward on this, okay? I don't know how you can... This piece of property is in really bad shape.
Okay, we won't know that if my pictures isn't here to submit what I have done to upgrade this property. So that's what my issue is here. I mean, and
do you have hard copies?
Where are your pictures?
Do you have
have hard copies?
Picture with you?
Wait, excuse me, say that again.
Do you have a picture with you?
I have pictures with me.
You can pass it around.
Okay, all right.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Let me say something. All due respect, if he owns the property, he has standing to argue against it. But if he doesn't, and I just try to be a straight shooter, if you don't have ownership, you don't have a standing to contest it. So I guess, I don't want to overstep anybody's boundaries, but I disagree with you. The issue is whether you own it, because if you don't own it, you can't come in and stand for someone else. You can only deal with it if you have an interest in it.
Yeah, sure, I understand that, Mr. Bell, but I think it would be foolish for me to come here publicly in front of the city of Montgomery arguing about me investing money into something that does not belong to me. I'm thinking that would just be, you know.
But it would be foolish of us to rule on something that just as foolish of us. I mean, it's nothing personal with me, but if you could show, because what I'm hearing personally is that I want to abide by the rule.
Yes.
And if you don't, as much as I understand what you're saying, if you don't own, if you can't show ownership or title to it, then you don't have. You just.
Yes, I mean, if you tell me to come back here on a specific day to show ownership, I could prepare for that. But today, we're on the agenda for unsafe structure, so that's what I prepared for.
May I suggest?
And I mean, that's quite simple.
May I suggest this? If you own it.
This is a carryover item from last week. He was supposed to come in and produce ownership records and a plan to progress with the house.
No, I disagree with that. That's not what I was supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
No, that wasn't. When I left here, I was only told by the councilmen that this would come up in 2 weeks. As far as that, there were no other instructions given. And between that time,
you were told to bring the information to the building.
Well, you're just taking his word for that, Mr. President. But I'm saying that's not what the issue was here.
First of all, let me ask. Is there any objection to having this man hold it over for another 2 weeks? And this time, wait, stop. You bring in proof of ownership, and if you don't have the photos to take over there, you give us hard copies so that we can then look at it and then render our decision.
That makes sense.
Now, unless this property is posing an imminent threat and we have to rule today to get it torn down by next week, then I'm thinking that maybe we can wait another couple of weeks, let you do what you need to do, and at that time, we don't need to have a debate.
Yes, sir.
Simply you would produce or you don't produce, and then we'll...
That makes sense, and that's common sense, that's common judgment. But to tell a person, I'm going to tear your house down because...
I'm just making a motion that we hold it over.
Well, hold on, I just speak, since it's my district.
I'm sorry.
That's all right, everybody has there's the time. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. 2 weeks ago, we did tell you to come and get a plan and show ownership, because that was one of the
When
issues.
did I speak to you, sir?
Right where you're standing 2 weeks ago
Well,
today.
2 weeks ago, we didn't speak only thing that was said. I mean, we could roll back your cameras. What was said is that this would be discussed 2 weeks from now, and I think it was Councilman Burkett that said that. But
we don't need to argue about this.
Yes.
Let's get a way to solve the problem.
Mr.
okay?
Carr, let me ask you
Keep on
this.
solving
If
the
we approve this today and he provided you information over the next 2 weeks, how would that go forward?
What we would ask is that the council approve for demolition tonight. If it comes forth with proof of ownership and an acceptable plan of action to repair the house, we'd be happy to work with him. Although we would ask him to stop work immediately on the structure until he comes forth with ownership records.
Councilman,
permit to work on it.
Councilman, if this house is in such bad condition and it's such unsafe structure, why would you ask me to stop working on it? Why not do whatever I can immediately to preserve the structure of this house? And I also have...
Listen to us, please. What Mr. Carr say? You just keep talking over everybody. One person at a time will speak. Mr. Carr?
In your own word, it's an unsafe structure and not stable enough to work around.
Those are not my own words. That's, you just said that. I don't know who you're listening to, but if you say that it's...
All right.
Mr. President, move to uphold.
Have a motion to uphold. All in favor, raise your hand.
Comes clarification.
Unanimous.
Can I get some clarification?
We're voting. We're voting.
So if he produces the information, then you
take Mr. Carr,
then if you produce information, they can put it on hold.
Okay.
It's not going to happen tomorrow, so you still have time to produce what you said.
Next item.
Okay, sir, I have a question.
Next
I mean, wasn't anybody else brushed off? Why am I being brushed off for
You're not
this?
being brushed.
It makes no sense.
You need to get with Mr. Carr, and he'll tell you what you need to provide to him.
Okay.
Item 9, ordinance granting a license to H1B Lee Street LLC to construct, install, use, maintain, repair, and replace a canopy structure over a portion of the right-of-way of Lee Street.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 10, ordinance assessing ad valorem taxes for tax year October 1, 2016 through September 30, 2017.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
A motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 11, resolution denying and or revoking right to operate a business for failure to purchase business license. Tiffany Robinson, doing business as iGlam, iHeartMe Activity Center, 3456 East Dale Circle.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
12 and 13 are withdrawn.
Yes, sir. Item 14, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license, doing business as The Bar, 2391 Congressman Dickinson Drive.
Representative of the bar here, please. Your name for the record, please.
Kelly Green.
Okay.
Craig Green.
All right, Ms. Green. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward.
Charles.
Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Mr.
Excuse me,
Lyons?
sir. I'd like to hold this over the next meeting, give the residents of District 2, especially the ones that are Old Elam Baptist Church, an opportunity to review this, since it used to be a package store. They want to do a bar versus what it used to be, and also it's across the street from a church.
Yes, ma'am.
It was actually a bar and a package store, but we're not opening the package store.
This application says Mickey's Package Store.
It was a, but they're not going to package store now, is that right?
Yeah, they'll want to open a bar from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Okay, that's, okay. Y'all need to talk to Mr. Lyons, please, which we carried over 2 weeks, and we will vote on it then, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 15, application for a restaurant retail liquor license, doing business as the Red Banana Restaurant and Jazz Lounge at 2547 Lower Wetumpka Road.
Representative of the Red Banana Restaurant. Your name for the record, sir.
Marcus Derrico.
Okay.
Roy Lisa Prevo.
Okay, very good. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing has been held as proper for the council. Need a motion?
Mr. President, move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you, Council.
Item 16, application for a restaurant retail liquor license, doing business as Moe's Original Barbecue, 1051 East Fairview Avenue.
Representative Moe's Original Barbecue, please. Your name for the record, sir. Okay.
Hill Ubin.
Okay.
Richard Bowles, co-owner.
Very good. This is a public hearing, and anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. That one person will speak.
I just want to ask for some clarity.
Okay, you just want clarity?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
First, let me clarify. I know both of these guys. It was in actual negotiation.
Give that mic.
My name is Frank Thomas,
Okay,
and
Frank.
I own some properties in Cloverdale around Woodley Terrace, and we own what was called the Posey House, the red two-story, and we also own the old Capitol Bookstore.
Okay.
And we were actually in negotiations with Hill and Richard to lease from us. They first went to the A&P Laws, a building owned by the Gilbreths, then came to us. And I'm in favor of Moe's Restaurant in Cloverdale. I think that a good restaurant in Cloverdale, it's unfortunate that Sinclair's didn't make it. That's just kind of the natural progression of business, and there's nothing wrong with somebody new coming in. But my concern is, especially in light of what happened downtown a couple of weeks ago, is if we are indeed a restaurant or if we are indeed a bar. And I don't think Cloverdale needs another bar. So again, I'm in favor of Moe's Restaurant because I indeed was willing to lease to Moe's Restaurant. It would be a hypocrite to say I'm not. But I just want you to look at your file here. First, what are the hours of operation?
11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And we would definitely be in favor of that. But I do want to show you just what some other operations do. There's one in Orange Beach that's open from 11 to 9. I think the neighborhood would be in favor of that. But if you look at the second page, the one in Tuscaloosa, the restaurant's open from 11 to 9, food stops, and then the bar is open till 2. So it ceases to be a restaurant, which is the license we're asking for tonight, and it becomes a bar. So you can either be a restaurant or a bar, but if you cease to be a restaurant, then indeed I think you should be asking for a different license. If you look at the second thing, the one in Atlanta, it's open from 11 to 9, and the food stops. Then it's a bar, and it stays open as long as there's a crowd. If you look at the one in Auburn, the hours there, Monday through Sunday, are 11 to 10, which is consistent with these guys, which we're for. The bar hours, which you would think that bar and restaurant would have the same hours if you are indeed a restaurant, but the bar hours here are 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., and Sunday they're 12 until people stop showing up. And this is all on their website. If you look at the one in Birmingham, Sunday is 11 to 9:30. Saturday's 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., and the bar is open as long as there's a crowd. Now, next there's a drink and shot menu that would not be conducive of what you would find in most restaurants. And then you see a Jim and Nick's hours, which is a restaurant here in Montgomery. Same hours that Hill said. I think that's a wonderful thing for Cloverdale. If it's open Sunday, 11 to 9:30, and certainly Friday and Saturday's the weekend. 10:30 is actually relatively early, so I think that would be a good thing. If you look at Dreamland, which is another barbecue restaurant, same food, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 9, Friday and Saturday, 10 to 10, and of course, Sunday's 11 to 9. So my concern again is if indeed a restaurant license is granted, and it's not, for instance, in zoning, you all know you can qualify a zoning. We will give you the zoning provided you do what you say. My only concern is in the event that a restaurant license is granted tonight, and it's not run as a restaurant, it doesn't meet the food percentages. It's be hard to meet food percentages when you're not serving food. What happens at that point? So I think the question tonight is if they ask for a bar license, would there be a much larger crowd here questioning this? Again, realizing that it's in an entertainment district, and entertainment districts are a big issue here. Not necessarily because the people in the district are misserving folks, but because people come to an entertainment district and often bring their own alcohol. I don't think these guys would purposely cause any trouble in Cloverdale, but just by the nature of their business and the hours of their operation, we may have another daiquiri bar. And that's a big concern for where we are in Montgomery today.
Okay. Can you answer that, gentlemen?
I wasn't going to say nothing,
Let's let them answer the first question, okay?
Sir.
Let them answer the first question. What
Okay.
your hours of operation and what's your intention?
Our hours of operation will be from 11 a.m. to around 10 p.m. at night. Our operation is to serve food with an occasional, beverage with that. The former restaurant that was there 5 weeks ago, the exact same thing, sort of license is what we're going for. There will be no difference in anything like that. We're not trying to run a bar. We're running a family-friendly restaurant.
What was brought up a minute ago, there were 2 college towns that were mentioned about their hours. This is not going to be considered a college bar or college restaurant. In Atlanta, it was mentioned that they were open till whenever it closes, whenever people stop coming. I worked at that restaurant and ran that restaurant for over a year, and at 10 o'clock, it's lights out, period.
Mr. President, I've talked with them and voiced what little concerns that I had received, and it was along those same lines that obviously they're applying for a restaurant license, which, as we discussed, they have the criteria for that, and we have the ability, as we've done on other restaurants that we feel are abusing that license, to go in and audit y'all. And as I said, if you're not getting the amount of food, excuse me, food revenues, then we're going to have issues with that, and we can certainly revoke that and go from there. As they described, at least to me, and don't know these gentlemen, but as they just said, Sinclair's. I mean, Sinclair served food. Everybody sat outside on the porch and ate and drank, and I'm sure the kitchen closed at a certain time, and people stayed there and continued to watch TV and have alcoholic drinks before, but there was also families in there for lunch and Sundays and even dinner time. So I understand Frank's concern, and Frank and I have talked about it, but again, until we're proven wrong, and I hope that's not the case, and if we are, we'll do something about it then. But from my standpoint, like I said, the concerns, I got a text earlier from the neighborhood president in favor of it. So from that standpoint, those issues I kind of addressed with them as far as the license.
Very good. Hey, one other person want to speak? Yes, sir.
Bishop Sawyer. I think we got enough police trying to police all these places, and especially when you're talking about opening on Sunday. And then we down there by a college. Now, quite naturally, they're not opening it up. Oh, giving honor to the mayor and to the chairman and to the councilman. We need to think about this thing. Alcohol breeds trouble. And not only that, but we got a problem now with the Second Amendment with our parks. They're making them take the signs down in the parks. They're having weapons in the park and alcohol in the park. And it's just enough. It's enough. It's enough is enough. We keep hiring police officers and putting them in jeopardy of getting, people carrying weapons, and everybody don't drink sociable. Amen. We feel like that when we send our kids to college, we would hope that they wouldn't engage in alcohol, but 9 times out of 10, they always have a trial period that they do go and have alcohol. And then you get the weapons involved. Then we got death involved. We got shooting involved. And it's just enough to turning on the TV all the time. It's violence, and we just need to curtail some of this alcohol business.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bishop. Appreciate you. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. You got somebody else, ma'am, want to speak?
Yes.
My name is Sue Lawfer. I am a resident homeowner at Woodley Terrace, right around the corner from said project. I have several concerns. The first one, the second one is the reputation of this company. I have here, Alabama.com, an article in which they were involved in fixing an election in Tuscaloosa. I have here a copy of a letter dated just several months ago from the ABC Board, the state of Alabama, where they did not comply. They had so many complaints that they no longer qualify for discounts with their insurance and training.
Where was that store?
Pardon?
Where was that restaurant at?
That one is in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
All right. I have a list of all the violations for both Tuscaloosa and Alabama, which we just received.
Tuscaloosa.
We just received today. I have all of the backup. Second concern is because of the hours, would very much, if they are to go in, want it restricted to 9 or 10 o'clock because of the college students. Their complaints and their violations are primarily for underage drinking, and the children that they served were not more than a year or two older than the children that you just awarded for their tennis. The other thing I'm concerned about is within the liquor license or liquor ABC Board regulations, I want to know if that building has been brought up to code as far as electrical, plumbing, and ADA compliance. I live around the corner, I walk by there every day, and I want to know exactly where it stands, because according to the ABC Board, that building should be up to code prior to the issuance of a liquor license.
Will have to.
So we have not finished all the research that we have started on this. I just got involved not more than 2 weeks ago, and I'd like to see this tabled until at least the next meeting, till all the dirt can come out in the wash.
It's good. I'm just curious, how did you get involved?
I was asked to get involved because
By whom?
My neighbors, mostly. I've spoken with several other people. 2 neighbors on both my sides. We have a very busy little street, and we've recently over the past year, we've gotten parking just on one side because of the width of the street. We're right there at the college. Which we love being at the college and all of that, but we don't want to see something, we would love to see something go into Sinclair's, and I have no problem with a restaurant/bar or whatever, but I would like to see more of a family-oriented facility, and I'd like to see one that is more responsible as far as a company and not running around serving minors and having so many violations. And I do question several things that I've been through, and I'd be happy to make copies and deliver this to all the board members.
I have a question, sorry.
Yes, sir. Mr. Green?
Is are all your stores company-owned, or are they franchises, or how does that work?
They are franchise that are directly or indirectly related to these specific gentlemen.
So basically, the incidents seem to all have occurred in Tuscaloosa, and that was probably
And
a
Auburn.
franchisee.
And Auburn, which are affiliated with these gentlemen.
Okay, I'm referring to the fixing of the election and the ABC Board. Was that Auburn or all of that Tuscaloosa?
The only affiliation that myself and my partner have with Moe's Original Barbecue is this location we're working on right now in Montgomery, Alabama. We have no relation to Auburn, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Huntsville, nobody.
Did you not work within the Tuscaloosa?
You said Atlanta.
Speak to the council.
Irrelevant.
How many locations does Moe's have? I mean, all total in the country?
There's 55.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay, thank
President.
you very much. Okay. I declare the public hearing's been held. Thank you.
Mr. President, as I've stated, if we have issues, I'll be the first one to question y'all and come back and meet with y'all. With that being said, move to adopt.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Excuse me,
Like with minutes.
one last question. When are y'all opening up or planning to open up? I'm sorry, I meant to ask that earlier.
We are shooting for early to mid-June, as soon as we can.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next item.
Item 17, application for retail beer and retail table wine
Next
on
item,
off
please.
premises by Goat Hoss Beer at 532 Clay Street.
Representative of Goat Beer.
Hey, I'm Adam Warnke.
I'm James Weddle.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
And before we vote, Mr. President, I'd like to ask the principals to give us an idea of what kind of innovative approach to business this is.
Actually, it's part of the air at Cottage Hill, the historic homes that we bought a couple of years ago. What we're trying to do, and we've had some progress with, is to attract creative folks, designers, artists, and the like, food people, and also entrepreneurs. And basically follow some of the things I've done before in Austin, where when you aggregate talent like that, good things happen. They create things beyond what you think that you would be able to start. So it's actually part of an overall creative entrepreneurial village concept. And the beer garden is meant to be a traditional German-style, friendly, welcoming, themed, family-oriented themed environment that in environments where there's entrepreneurs and folks doing things that they can start to collaborate. So it can extend the times that they have together, whether it be an artist or a designer or a tech person, where they can hang out and talk about ideas. And from there, what we do on another program we offer that's not part of the Goat House is the actual coaching to help people launch new businesses. So that's the model in a nutshell. I hope that makes sense.
That's interesting.
Very good. Thank you.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Good
adopted.
luck with your business.
Thank you.
Item 18, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Intech at 1024 Ann Street.
Representative Intech on Ann Street. Your name for the record, sir?
My name is Dawal Dalwadi.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper for the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move for adoption.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you.
Item 19, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as MAPCO at 3930 Atlanta Highway.
Okay.
My name is Rodney Moore.
All right, Rodney. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Proper for the council. Need a motion?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the business.
Thank you, John.
Item number 20, application for a special retail 30 days or less liquor license, doing business as Biscuits Baseball Games, 200 Coosa Street.
Your name for the record.
Bob Parker.
Okay, Bob. You're working this deal out so that the biscuits have
Yes, sir.
It's
Looks like we got it done.
good transition. Okay, very good. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing been held. It's proper for the council.
Move to suspend the rules.
A motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good deal, Bob.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Item 21, application
Hey,
for...
Bob, come back a minute. I'm sorry.
That's-
Information's out this afternoon that you're moving. Are you moving Dreamland?
Yes, sir. I got hit by radio, TV, and print today all at once. I didn't really wake up this morning on my anniversary of my daughter's 16th birthday to think that I would be telling everybody that, but it's been public knowledge for a while. It's a little bittersweet. So we've, we're moving the Dreamland location to the rail yard location. So building a traditional brick pit that we can actually clean properly to avoid excitement in the alley. So yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
21, application for a nonprofit tax exempt license doing business as River Jam 2017 at 300 Water Street.
Representative River Jam. I think, who's the representative? Oh, you're going to do it, okay. All right. Yeah, okay.
Yes, my name is Ken Reynolds, and I'm with the City of Montgomery Special Events Department. We are the organizers of this event, and this will be our 5th annual River Jam Music Festival.
Very good, Ken. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, the public hearing has been held. It's proper for the council. Any motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Ken, you gonna handle the other two?
Yes, sir.
Brewfest.
Item 22, application for a nonprofit tax exempt doing business as Riverbend Brewfest 2017 at 300 Water Street.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone want to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, the public hearing has been held. Proper for the council.
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 23, resolution appointing Tommy Ellis to the Joint Public Charity Hospital Board.
Need a motion to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda.
Move to suspend the rules on the rest of the agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 24, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 322 Collingwood Avenue.
Need a motion to uphold.
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 25, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 303 Truitt Street.
Need a motion.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 26, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 615 Grove Street.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. 27, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 619 Grove Street.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 28, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Motion, need a motion to uphold.
Move to approve.
All in
Move to
favor,
approve.
raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 29, resolution declaring public nuisances, authorizing abatement, and assessing cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, Madam Clerk, got anything else?
Yes, sir, I do. Councilor Larkin gave me some contingency funds, Mr. Mayor. $500 to ECHO, $500 to Brookview Neighborhood Association, $500 to Sheridan Heights Neighborhood Association, $500 to Pine Manor Neighborhood Association, and $300 to Alabama State University Aspire Program.
Okay.
The
Anybody
Aspire
got
program,
anything?
is it
Yes,
given
sir,
to
Mr.
the
Bailey.
foundation, or is that a 501c3?
Aspire, I believe it's a 501c3
We've
that
given-
comes
we
under
have
the
the paperwork.
umbrella. But we'll,
Yeah,
I
I'll
think we do,
approve.
but I'll double check it.
Mr. Bell?
I use the right memo, but I would like to donate $5,000 for Southern League baseball team, baseball league, and the paperwork is there.
Southern League Baseball League?
You know, it's crazy to say the Southern League Baseball League, but I think that's what it is, the Southern League Baseball.
5,000.
Yeah, 5,000.
Okay.
To the extent I have that.
Yes,
So
sir.
I don't have any more money for them.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I'd like to give 500 to the Neighbors Incorporated, as well as 500 to the
I think we still have them as neighbors in Christ.
Okay, Neighbors in Christ. And 500 to the Samaritan Counseling Center.
Yes, sir, and we do need the paperwork on them. We gave
Okay.
to them last year, and we don't have the paperwork on them, but we'll contact them.
District 9 would like to give $250 to David in Christ. I think that cleans out my account.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
District 1 would like to give $500 to Neighbors in Christ. Also to the Tuckabatchee Council of Boy Scouts for that workshop, $300.
The camp that he was talking about today. Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Mr.
Need a
Mayor, you
motion
okay?
to,
Yes.
need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir, that's all I have.
In our public communication roster of non-agenda items,